Hey guys, welcome back to the theory lesson series. In this video we're going to be without the guitar. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about the circle of fifths and our sharp flat acronyms. And what that's referring to is the order that the sharps appear in the order that the flats appear. And we'll talk about that. We'll explain what that means. But both of them are going to be methods for determining keys if you're not comfortable with that yet. I recommend using as many avenues as possible just to figure out what you are most comfortable with, but in the end it's going to be playing in those keys, keys that are common to your instrument. Obviously we're talking about guitar, but whatever instrument a person is playing on, you just want to be able to navigate those keys, and there will be ones that are more common. So for like guitar it'll be A major, E major, C major, a lot of the sharps actually. All right, so let's jump right into it. The circle of fifths. Why is it called the circle of fifths? So I have all of our keys written out here, and we're going to think of key of C major as our starting point. There's no sharps, no flats. So the reason it's called the circle of fifths is as you go around, G is the fifth note in the key of C, D is the fifth note in the key of G, A is the fifth note in the key of D. And that works all the way around. Sometimes it'll get called the circle of force, rarely, but you could say that because if you go the other way, F is the fourth of C, B flat is the fourth note of F, E flat is the fourth note of E flat, and there's other significance to that, but I would say just stick with the circle of fifths, and ultimately you're just going to memorize the visual, what that looks like. And you're not really going to be too concerned about that as far as the circle, the diagram is concerned, but that relationship of fifths is super important. So the way this is laid out is we're starting on the key of C major, which has no sharps or flats. And then you'll find circle of fifths that are basically turned around, and it's the same information, but we have our sharps on the right side. So sharp keys are over here, and basically as we go around the circle we're adding one sharp at a time. All right, so C major has no sharps, then G major has one sharp, which is actually F sharp. D major has two sharps, which is F sharp and C sharp. A major has three sharps, which is F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. And we already see something important that's happening here. Every sharp is getting recycled. So all three of these sharps are going to be in the key of E major, and then one more is going to get added. Then all of those four sharps will be in the key of B major, and then one more sharp is going to get added. So to complete that sharp side, it goes C, G, D, A, E, B, 5 sharps, F sharp, 6 sharps, and C sharp, 7 sharps. Quick side note, C has no sharps, no flats. C sharp has 7 sharps, everything is sharp, and C flat has 7 flats, everything is flat. So that's something important to remember, very helpful tip. And the reason we have two keys on these, in these positions, because these are called inharmonic equivalents. There is a key of B major, and there is a key of C flat major. There is a key of F sharp major, and there is a key of G flat major. And there is a key of C sharp major, and there is a key of D flat major. They're all the same notes with different names. Inharmonic equivalents, they sound the same, but they have a different name. Just like C sharp and D flat are the same note, but then if you start on either one of those pitches, the scale is going to work out differently. So we won't get any more into that though. So it's the same thing on the flat side. So we start on C, no flats, and then let me go ahead and write flat keys over here. C, no flats. F has one flat, which is B flat. B flat major has 2 flats. Those flats are B flat and E flat. E flat has 3 flats, and that's going to be B flat, E flat, and A flat. And we see the same thing happening here. Each flat that was in the previous key is getting reused. We're just adding one each time. B flat and E flat, both in here, add one. All three of these are going to be in the key of A flat major, and then we're adding one. So typically when you look at one of these circle of fifths, they're going to have they'll have a staff drawn out, and then it'll have the sharp symbols or flat symbols written out next to each key, so you can see that plain and simple how many sharps, and if you can read music, then know which sharps those are, or flats. So this is a great visual aid for learning your keys, and pretty easy to memorize, especially if you've already dabbled in reading some music or learning a little bit about music theory. And it should be pretty easy to go online and look up circle of fifths and find a PDF that you could study and work with if you don't have a theory book or something. Now, this other method, learning the sharps and the flat acronyms, I already have these written out, and these really don't make much sense. You could make up your own if you want. So for the sharp side, we have Funky Chickens Get Down at Ed's Barn. And it's just an acronym to help us memorize the order of the sharps. Basically, this is how the sharps appear in the keys. And we can point that out on the circle of fifths here. So the first sharp that will occur is F sharp. Boom, key of G major, one sharp, F sharp. The second sharp is C sharp. Here we go to D major, F sharp, C sharp, F sharp, C sharp. The third is G sharp. Go to key of A major, three sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. So it's very handy to memorize these acronyms. I remember one of my students came up with one that I thought was pretty clever. It was feral cats go down alleys eating birds. Pretty easy to remember. I thought that was a nice one. And then on the flat side, this is the one that I use. You can make up something for yourself. There might be other ones that people point out. This makes absolutely no sense, but it's easy to remember. Bead, greatest common factor. B, greatest common factor. So that's the order that the flats appear. B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat, and F flat. So if we look over here, the first key that has one flat is F major, which is B flat. Then our next key that has two flats, B flat, E flat, B flat, E flat. Next key that has three flats, B flat, E flat, A flat, B flat, E flat, A flat. So it's always following this order. Now, the way we can use this information, say we didn't have the circle of fifths or we're not familiar with that, there's a sharp method and a flat method you can use for determining your keys. So let's say we have four sharps, right? So we always have to remember it in this specific order, but we're just going to write out those four sharps. So what key has four sharps? So we'll just write it out in this order. Funky chickens get down. All right, so we have four sharps. The method for determining the key is the last sharp. If you go up one half step from that, then that will be your key. So a half step up above D sharp is E. So the key that has four sharps would be key of E major. And if we look over here, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp for A, we were about to get that done. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp. Four sharps for the key of E major. So that works for every single key. You go up a half step above F sharp, key of G major. Go up a half step above C sharp, key of D major. So on and so forth. So let me stress this again. It's important to have it in that specific order. That's why the acronym is important to learn. Now for the flat side, this one's pretty easy. There's only one key that it doesn't work for, and we'll point that out. But let's say we have 5 flats. All right, so what key has 5 flats? So we're going to write it out in this order. Bead, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. Greatest common factor, we're going to stop there though, B greatest. So we stop at G flat for 5 flats in that specific order. All you have to do is go to the next to last flat, and that is your key. Next to last flat is, right, the key. Now, the only key that does not work for is F major, because if you go back, there is no other flat, right? We only have one flat in that key. So we just got to remember that key of F major has one flat, which is B flat. If we're aware of our acronym, that will be very easy to remember. But let's just go ahead and prove that. So here we have B flat, E flat. Go one back, key of B flat major. B flat, E flat, A flat. Go back one, key of E flat major. Then this would be B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. Go back one, key of A flat major, the one that we just did. B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat. Go back one, D flat major. So, might feel like a lot of information, but if you maybe read up on it a little bit, study your circle of fifths, and try, you can write out little worksheets for yourself, or I'm happy to provide that stuff if anybody is interested. I have stuff written up that I can send to you. But getting to know your keys is super helpful, and these are definitely two ways that I learned aside from playing. And you don't really rely on this information anymore once you're feeling good about it, but this is great to start out, because when you're trying to learn on an instrument, especially if you're not familiar with the notes on the fretboard, it makes it really confusing. So circle of fifths, very handy diagram just to lay all the keys out and learn your keys in order from 1 sharp to 7 sharps and 1 flat to 7 flats. And then the sharp flat acronym method, using the order that the sharps appear and the order that the flats appear. The sharp method is go a half step up from your last sharp, and that'll be your key. And the flat method is go to the next to last flat, and that's your key. Anyways, hope you guys find this helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. I know it can feel a little dense at first, but just give it time, be patient, it'll start to settle in, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.